So Zani is rerunning very soon. So I see some of you guys suggested to me that I should make a guide on Zani, and you guys are asking for a guide on the wrong person because I do not know how to make guides properly. But I'll try my best to not make this guide with any BS. I'll get straight to the point so you guys can understand how to play Zani properly. So quick disclaimer before we start the video, my Zani is sequence 2. So this will not be a S0 guide, but even with sequence 2, the gameplay with S0 is still the same. The only difference is like the damage difference. That's it. So let's start with Zani's kit. Despite this wall of text here, Zani's kit is very simple. All you have to do is generate your forte, apply Spectrofrazzle on the enemy, press E, and then Alt, repeat. That's basically it. If you don't apply your enhance E on the enemy, you won't be able to do full damage. When the Resonator inflicts Spectrofrazzle upon a target, immediately consume all Spectrofrazzle stacks and trigger corresponding damage. Convert Spectrofrazzle into an equal number of Helical Embers. Helical Embers is basically just a Spectrofrazzle stacks you see on the enemy. As you guys can see here, this is the Helical Embers. In a nutshell, the more Spectrofrazzle you applied on the enemy, the stronger your damage. Also, the more Spectrofrazzle you applied on the enemy, the more this bar under her forte will fill up. If the bar is fully filled, the longer you can use her Inferno mode or Blaze mode, whatever you want to call it. I'm just gonna call it the second form. The only character that can max this bar under her forte is Phoebe. Unfortunately, Spectral Rover cannot do that. Spectral Rover can only generate it halfway, so this is probably one of the reasons why people don't like Zani. So Zani's E can parry any attacks, whether it's her normal E or enhance, it can parry any attack. You will receive no damage if you time it right, but if you don't, you will still receive damage. Moving on to her weapon, and obviously her signature weapon will be better on her. If you don't have her signature, you can go for Abyss Surges. If you don't have Abyss Surges, you can go for Variety's Handle. Unfortunately, there's not much F2P alternative in this game, so you kind of just have to rely on 5-star only. I don't really recommend you guys to go for 4-star because I feel like there's no good 4-star for Zani. Maybe this Hello Mirage is good if that's your only choice. Moving on to her Echo, you can run the Celestial Light on Zani, but I don't recommend this set because Zani will lose a lot of damage with this set. So I will recommend you guys to only farm Eternal Radiance for Zani. What you guys gotta focus on Zani is heavy attack damage bonus because Zani scale on heavy attack. So you guys can either go for the 4-3-3-1-1, which is her best option, or you guys can go 4-4-1-1-1. That also work, but I don't really recommend that. But if you guys have no other option, you guys can go for that. Just a temporary build so you guys can find a good 4-3-3-1-1. So this is the example of how you should build your Zani. You guys can see the stats here. Yeah, the mistake I see a lot of Zani players do is they're still using this on their main slot. The Morning Eggs won't really provide anything for Zani here. You need to farm for this Echo specifically, Capitanius. So what this Echo will do, if you put this Echo over here instead of the Morning Eggs, the Resonator with this Echo equipped in their main slot gains 12% Spectral damage bonus and 12% heavy attack damage bonus. This will benefit Zani a lot, so it is important to put Capitanius on this slot right here, on the main slot, not Morning Eggs. All right, moving on to her skill priority. Level up her Forte Circuit, Liberation, Resonance skill, and then you guys can basically ignore the normal attack and intro skill unless you wanna upgrade that. These two skill right here won't really do anything. For a sequence priority, maybe you guys want to get Zani sequence in the future. A good stopping point for Zani is S3 or S2. What S2 will do, it will give crit rate to your Zani and then more damage basically. And S3 will basically increase your liberation damage. How many crit rate you need on Zani? Since I have S2, my crit rate is high here, so it will be unrealistic for you guys to be aiming 72%. So what you guys gonna aim for is around 55 plus crit rate on Zani. Zani doesn't really need a lot of crit rate because of this thing right here. Inflicting Spectrofrazzle on the enemies that increase Zani's crit rate. Getting around 55% plus is already enough to get a consistent crit on the enemy. So that's what you guys need to aim for at S0. And for your attack, just get 2k plus attack. That's it. Alright, so I'm gonna show you guys how to play Zani. I'm going to explain everything about Zani's premium team and Zani's F2P team. In this showcase, I will use Moonlit Clouds on Phoebe. I'm going to use Rejuvenating Glow on Chisa. Yes, I'm also going to include Chisa. I still see so many people is doing this rotation, so they start with Shorekeeper like this. Then they go to Phoebe. Do this. Then switch. And then they ult like this. Then do the classic. Then spam. Alt. Switch. And then repeat again. That is a good rotation, but it's very slow. There's a better way to make the rotation faster. So you're actually going to start with Zani first. So she do this. Once she got into the sitting animations, do this. I forgot to mention this in the video. So once Zani go into the sitting animation, you have to wait for a bit. Then you press basic attack. Then you switch. If you basic attack immediately, she won't do the kicking animation. It's important to wait for a bit. Phoebe ult immediately. Like this. Make sure your Phoebe Concerto is 0. And then when she does that, then switch to Shorekeeper again. Alt. Alt attack, switch, E, then alt. This is way faster than the rotation earlier. This is much faster. So when she does her final ult like this, do a basic attack, then do the same thing, switch. Then use Phoebe again. Her Consoler is not full. Once she got her enhance here, switch. Don't use it yet. Use Shorekeeper here. Switch to Phoebe. Alt. Then do this again. E. Alt. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Also, quick tips for people who never play Phoebe before. If you're planning to play Phoebe with Zani, make sure to always hold E instead of hold basic attack. Because hold basic attack will make Phoebe go into a golden mode. That golden mode won't really provide anything to Zani. It's better for you to hold E because that mode will generate Spectrofrazzle for Zani. Also, quick tips on Phoebe. When you're holding E, your enhanced E, make sure after that to ult immediately so you can animation cancel instead of waiting for the animation to finish. It will save you a lot of time. If you don't have Shorekeeper and then you have Chisa instead, I mean, it's still the same. You guys still do the same thing. So what you're gonna do the same thing again. Do this, switch to this, do Caesar attack, and then once Chisa go into that Caesar animation, then you switch to Phoebe. Do the same thing here, apply Frazzle. Then let me dodge this. Alt with Chisa. Then put her E here, enhance E. Switch. Then E. Alt. You can apply Tune Rupture if you want to. Do the same thing, don't switch yet. Chair, switch, E. Wait till the CG animation, switch. Do Phoebe again. Alt with Chisa. Enhance E. Switch again. Yeah, just like that. It's very simple. Instead of just your traditional rotation, it's gonna waste a lot of time, especially in the TOA, in like any endgame, to be honest. If you don't have Phoebe, right, you can use Spectral Rover. So for Rover right here, you can either use Moonlit Clouds for his Echo, or you can use Eternal Radiance. So for the sake of this guide, I'm gonna use Moonlit on Rover. So this is my stats right now. So this is the rotation right here. I'm gonna start with Zani here. Wait, I gotta wait for this thing to come down first. I really hate this thing. Alright. Do the thing, spinning attack. Because what this spinning attack will do, it will generate your forte fast. Alright. Shorekeeper here. Switch to Rover. Alt here. Then wait for Zani to do... Once the basic attack glow, then switch to Rover right here. F. Switch again. Alt. Switch to Shorekeeper and repeat the same thing. Alt here. Switch. F. Do again. Same thing. Switch to Shorekeeper. Alright, be careful there. Alt. Yeah, that's basically it. It's pretty simple. I'm gonna move on to Zani team with Phoebe. Start with Zani over here. Chisa. Then Phoebe here. 3 basic attack, and then once the enhance, switch to Chisa again. Alt. Switch to Phoebe. I really hate this wolf. Then enhance E. Alt. And you will just obliterate the enemy. Just like that. Then do the same thing again. Once Chisa go into the scissor animation switch. Phoebe. Alt, Chisa. Phoebe again. Switch. Enhance E and then liberation. And the enemy is dead. Yeah, just spam basic attack until the enemy is dead. Then alt. Bam. Yeah, that is how you play Zani. Very simple, very easy, very straightforward. So before I end the video, is Zani worth it to pull? As a Zani main, it hurts me to say this. No, she's not worth it to pull. If you really like Zani, then it is worth it to pull. But if you want to pull Zani for the sake of like meta or something, pulling for Luke is so much better than Zani. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Zani because Zani is very clunky to play. And not to mention Zani's kit is like, it hurts me to say this, it's bad. You can't really unleash her full potential if you don't have Phoebe. So like for Augusta, for example, all you have to use is Mortefi and she can still deal crazy amount of damage. Same with Luke, you don't even have to pull for any Linne or something like that. Just use like Sanhua. Zani cannot generate Spectrofrazzle on her own. For example, Karathea. Karathea can generate Arrow Erosion on her own. She's not really relying on like negative status support. But for Zani, without Spectrofrazzle, she's basically unusable. So my final thoughts, if you really like Zani, then yeah, you should go for it. But if you want to get a very strong Spectro DPS for the sake of meta, I don't think Zani is really your go-to Spectro DPS unless you want to pull for Phoebe at the same time. But I doubt a lot of you guys have enough pull to even like go for Zani and Phoebe and her signature weapon. Anyways, that's all for you guys today. If you guys like my content, don't forget to leave a like or a sub. That would be much appreciated. And as always, thank you for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye bye.